possessions, a statement which set many of his neighbors against him. "Mean well, indeed," Joseph Starkweather had replied to his neighbor's remark, "when they have closed the port of Boston, so that no ship but the king's warships dare go in and out. Even our fishing boats are closely watched. Already the Boston people are beginning to need many things. Americans are not going to submit to feeding British soldiers while their own men go hungry." But now Joseph Starkweather was the only man who interested himself in the lonely child. Day after day of that first week of her father's absence, Anne had stayed close to the little house, looking hopefully out across the harbor for a sight of his boat, and day after day Joseph Starkweather had come lounging down the beach to speak with the child, to ask her what she had for breakfast, and if she slept safe and unafraid. "The meal is gone," she told him one morning, "and I do not sleep now. I wait and listen for my father." And then it was that he told her she must seek another home. "You are too young to stay alone," he said. "Pick up a bundle of your clothes and go to Mrs. Stoddard on the hill. She hasn't a chick or child of her own. Like as not, you'll be a blessing to her." And Anne, used to obedience and sorrow, obeyed. There was nothing of much value in the small house, but on the day after Anne's entrance as a member of the Stoddard family, Captain Stoddard loaded the poor sticks of furniture on a handcart and pulled it through the sandy tracks to his cottage door. "It's the child of an English spy you're giving shelter to," he had said, when Martha Stoddard had told him that Anne was to live with them, "and she'll bring no luck to the house." But his wife had made no response. The dark-eyed, elfish-looking child had already found a place in the woman's heart. "I don't eat so very much," Anne announced, as Mrs. Stoddard gave her a bowl of corn mush and milk when she came downstairs. "You'll eat what you want in this house, child," answered her new friend, and Anne ate hungrily. "Now come to the door, Anne, and I'll brush out this tangle of hair of yours," said Mrs. Stoddard, "and after this you must keep it brushed and braided neatly, and bring down your other frock. I'll be doing some washing this afternoon, and I venture to say your frock is in need of it." The first few days in the Stoddard family seemed almost unreal to Anne. She no longer watched for her father's boat. She no longer wandered about the beach, playing in the sand and hunting for shells. Her dresses were not now the soiled and ragged covering which had served as frocks, but stout cotton gowns, made from a skirt of Mrs. Stoddard's, and covered with a serviceable apron. A sunbonnet of striped cotton covered the dark head, and Anne was as neat and well-dressed as the other children of the settlement. To be sure, her slender feet were bare and tanned, and hardened by exposure, but there was not a child in the neighborhood who wore shoes until the frost came, and Mrs. Stoddard was already making plans for Anne's winter footgear. "I'll trade off something for some moccasins for the child before fall," she had resolved. "Some of the Chatham Indians will get down this way when the beach plums begin to ripen, and will be glad of molasses, if I am lucky enough to have it." For those were the days when the little coast settlements had but few luxuries, and on Cape Cod the settlers were in fear of the British. Provincetown was especially exposed, and at that time there were but 30 houses, and the people had no established communication with the outside world. The sea was their thoroughfare, as a journey over the sandy country from Provincetown to Boston was almost impossible. News was a long time in reaching the little settlement of fishermen. But they knew that King George III had resolved to punish Boston for destroying his cargoes of tea, and had made Salem the seat of government in the place of Boston. Warships from England hovered about the coast, and the children of Provincetown were quick to recognize these unwelcome craft. "Mistress Stoddard," said Anne one morning, when she had returned from driving the cow to the enclosed pasturage at some little distance from the house, "Jimmy Starkweather says there is a big ship off Race Point, and that it is coming into harbor here. He says 'tis a British ship, and that like as not the men will land and burn down the houses and kill all the cows." Anne looked at Mrs. Stoddard questioningly. "Nonsense," responded the good woman. "Jimmy was but trying to make you afraid. 'Twas he sent thee running home last week in fear of a wolf that he told you was prowling about." "But there is a ship, Mistress Stoddard. I went up the hill and looked, and 'tis coming along like a great white bird." "Like enough. The big ships go up toward Boston and Salem on every fair day. You know that well, child." "This seems a different kind," persisted Anne, and at last Mrs. Stoddard's curiosity was aroused, and with Anne close beside her, she walked briskly up to the hill and looked anxiously across the blue waters. "'Tis much nearer now," said Anne.